Welcome to the hashtag Spiderweb. I'm Spyder, and if you haven't figured it out already, I love Hasbro Beyblade products. They're typically hidden gems to me. They have so many cool and unique aspects about them that make them fun and enjoyable for a lot of people. Despite how much I love Hasbro Beyblades though, they do have their flaws. Back then, the flaws weren't really so bad that you would want to totally drop all their products in general, but nowadays it's ouch. You see, SpeedStorm is Hasbro's current Beyblade Burst system, which is based off of Beyblade Burst Surge. The system basically consists of tall bays that fight in wacky stadiums. I honestly find this to be one of Hasbro's worst systems as of now. At first I thought it was the best, but Hasbro truly do it in many ways. So in this video, I'm going to call out the flaws that ruin Hasbro's SpeedStorm system. However, at the same time, I'm also going to propose ways to actually get these issues fixed. If we continuously ignore Hasbro's flaws, they're never going to get fixed. They're just never going to get fixed. You see, Hasbro did fix the issues with the Pro Series, or they're currently fixing them, as a result of us criticizing them. So, rightfully so, we should criticize SpeedStorm, and then hopefully it'll get fixed. I mean, most likely it will if we just criticize them. Most likely Hasbro in general will get better over time. That's why this video exists. Now, let's get started. Hasbro Beyblades tend to look pretty good. Usually. Occasionally. Okay, so Hasbro makes a lot of good looking bays nowadays as well, but they have stuff like this on the market. If you look at this Hasbro bay, World Sprison, and then look at the Takara Tomy's World Spriggan, I'm pretty sure you would buy the World Spriggan. Like, if they were both set right next to each other and you'd be like, which one you want? I'm pretty sure you'd get the World Spriggan because it just looks so much better. It has all the cool gimmicks and whatnot, while Hasbro's is just, yeah. This is an issue with general Hasbro, but it mostly occurs in SpeedStorm. They don't put a lot of effort in their bays appearance-wise, like they used to. A lot of people bought Hasbro's Flare Cobra C5 simply because it looked good. And guess what? That bay had terrible performance in battle, but nobody cared because it looked so cool to have. If Hasbro made their bays look amazing more consistently, they would make so much more money and the fans would be happy. So, how to fix this issue? Just put more effort in the smaller details. This isn't way too hard to do. In fact, it should be rather easy. Hasbro showed us that with their Hypersphere Premium collection that they can give full detail to bays outside of Pro Series. So why not do that to almost every, or just every main anime bay that they release? Hasbro's slope locking mechanism has proven, time and time again, that it's far more efficient and durable than the T system for both Takara Tomy and Pro Series. The slopes don't wear nearly as fast or as much as T. If that wasn't true, why is Takara Tomy using the slope mechanism on some of their own products to buff up burst resistance for special bays like Roar Bahamut? Yes, that bay has slopes, people. Slopes. It's not because infinite lock. It doesn't have infinite lock. They just simply gave it slopes. However, the slope mechanism's dominant durability is pointless if the slopes are weak to begin with. SpeedStorm bays are infamous for having forced slopes, which results in them easily bursting in battle. This is arguably Hasbro's biggest issue right now. Hypersphere bays generally have much better slopes than SpeedStorm bays, and they were last year bays, like older generation bays, and they're generally stronger than SpeedStorm in general as of now. How to fix this issue? It's simple, but very time consuming. All they have to do is remodel the slopes on the bays until they're actually good. I know that'll take a lot of time and effort, but it's overall worth it instead of giving us all these products that we just don't want because they're weak. Okay, let me get this straight. SpeedStorm bays are meant to be tall, so Hasbro making the drivers tall is no surprise. It's what they're meant to be. However, they're usually so off balance in battles that they don't last that long during a battle, and they just tip over after a hit or two, then burst, or simply lose a ton of stamina. What I hear a lot is that Hasbro SpeedStorm bays are bad because they're tall, which is honestly not exactly the full truth, or is not really true at all. Mobius SpeedStorm is a taller version of the original Takara Tomy Mobius, but guess what? It's still amazing. Exceed SpeedStorm and Zone SpeedStorm are pretty good as well. However, the real issue isn't really the height, it's the width of the drivers. Hasbro's Hypersphere bays, yes, I'm using Hypersphere again, because it's a very strong reference. They're just as tall, if not taller than SpeedStorm, but they don't wobble around like SpeedStorm bays because the drivers are wide enough to compensate for the height of the drivers and the width of the Beyblade layer. SpeedStorm drivers are tall, but they're generally thin or skinny, and that results in them being extremely off balance. How to fix this issue? Simply widen out the drivers. Of course, they don't have to make them as bulky as Hypersphere drivers, but they do need to make them wide enough to compensate for the increased height and stay balanced. That way, Hasbro can have their tall bays and they'll also be balanced. This is not an easy, a very easy fix at this point, but maybe they could work it out with future releases. No, I really don't have an idea, but they'd have to remodel the thin drivers and make them lighter, which would take a lot of time, but it'd probably be worth it. Okay, listen, I typically don't care about anime gimmicks, especially if they sucked. If they're bad for the bay, looking at you, Lucifer Barrier, Hasbro can remove them and I'd be happy. If the bay is good, with or without the gimmicks, then I also don't care about no gimmicks, like Triumph Dragon. The gimmick for Tempest Dragon was pretty cool, but Hasbro removed it, which I at first was mad, but Triumph Dragon is very strong for Hasbro, so I really don't care anymore. However, when Hasbro started SpeedStorm, they showcased bays with anime gimmicks, so a lot of us, including me, had the thought that, oh, so SpeedStorm is going to basically be Hasbro bringing back most of the anime gimmicks, right? Well, that's not exactly the case. You see, later on, they dropped a lot of anime gimmicks for almost every other bay. I don't know how they could start a whole system off with anime gimmicks, building the hopes up of many fans, then drop most of the gimmicks later on. It's so inconsistent. Some gimmicks are incredibly easy to handle, like World Spryzen's flip gimmick. That's easy to do. I'm pretty sure it's not that hard to mold that in. But guess what? We don't get that either. They make it dual spin, but without the flip gimmick. If you put Hasbro's World in left, it'll pretty much take quite a bit of recoil from what I've heard, because the layer shape is shaped to be a right spin. So I just don't get it. I just don't get why they didn't do that. The flip gimmick wasn't that hard. Now, like I said before, some gimmicks being removed, like Lucius's Barrier, makes total sense. Like, then removing the Bullet Driver gimmick as well, that gimmick was cool in theory, but it really wasn't that good. So I really didn't care about it. I was actually happy to see it gone, happy to see Hasbro not wasting money on it. However, some gimmicks just don't, they just don't make any sense to remove. Like, some of them are just fine, and they're easy to do, so I don't know why they don't keep them. I think the easiest way to fix this is to bring Switch Strike back, because seriously, if they were to just give if they were just gonna bring back anime gimmicks for most of the bays, it would probably increase the pricings of the bays themselves, so the price ranges would be all over the place. However, when they had if they brought back Switch Strike, they could have Switch Strike bays at a different price range than SpeedStorm bays, and then they won't have to worry about redoing the whole price range of SpeedStorm, because guess what? It's not SpeedStorm, it's Switch Strike. Of course, the bays don't actually get to be tall, but they could just release SpeedStorm versions of the anime drivers with different bays. Something like that. I don't know if I sent that message clearly, but I'm trying. Of course, the prices will go up, but it'll be worth it. Oh my goodness, where do I begin? Hasbro's Jet Wyvern doesn't come with the same parts as seen in the anime. In fact, it came with awful parts. Awful parts, guys. Awful. World's Prizes and Brave Valtrak Triumph Dragon, they don't come with their chassis discs. Instead, they come with very outclassed, weak discs from years back. Mirage Fafnir comes with 1A instead of 2S. Why would they give a stamina type bay an attack type disc? You have the anime as a reference. This should not be a huge issue. Y'all made 3A and 2D for Lucius and Luinor. Y'all can make new chassis discs, but for some reason y'all just hold off on them, or you just don't make them at all, and then you wait for some recolor. Like, why don't you just put them on the original base to begin with? It makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. 2S? Oh yeah, that's right. It doesn't exist. Gosh, SpeedStorm? Look, they even released a frame, a recolored lift frame on a product, but they don't give us the Nax frame for Doomsider. They don't make new frames or new chassis. Like, what is this? What is this? They don't even, a lot of times, look, if you're not gonna give us a chassis disc, at least give it a disc that's frame compatible, a good disc that's frame compatible, and put a good frame on it or something to resemble it. At least, like, instead of was it 2B for World's Prizing, they could have just did like maybe double L bump and make the bump yellow. They could have done something like that, but they didn't. They just didn't. Obviously, in terms of stock, Hasbro didn't mess up every SpeedStorm bay. Colossal Helios and Super Hyperion in the Volt Knockout set. They look great. They have the right drivers. The discs are incorrect, but they're not bad. Like, Helios came with the 10 disc, which is good. Hyperion came with the 7 disc, which is decent. Okay? So that's fine. And then they did eventually release the chassis disc on recolors of Hyperion and Helios, which a lot of people appreciate. Like, hey, at least you made them. Oh. And then look at Vex Lucius. You can hate the bay as much as you want, but you gotta admit that Hasbro does deserve credit for actually giving us its chassis disc and a good driver. Same thing with Raid Luinor. Hate as much as you want because no metal, but at least praise it for having a chassis disc, good or not. The easiest way for Hasbro to really fix this is to just really release the missing parts later on. I mean, they could just remake them in Pro Series, like the discs, which is, I guess, fair, and they can do that. However, now in terms of chassis discs, they really can't do that. They should just release them on future waves of SpeedStorm. I really hope they do. For frames and stuff, yeah, just re-release them in Pro Series. Might as well. Hopefully Hasbro listens to us again and fixes their issues. I mean, they listen to us about Pro Series, so I have no doubt they'll fix the issues with their mainline products if we criticize them. Mainly, I'm just hoping for next year to be much better. I mean, Hypersphere, at least the gimmick worked for the bays, and at least, like, the bays were really strong, even without anime gimmicks. But here, it's just so inconsistent. The bays just wobble around. They even lose to Hypersphere, which sucks. Like, Hypersphere can be out of its element and still beat these bays. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Now, as Hasbro, or Beyblade supporters in general, it's our job to congratulate Hasbro when they do good, but criticize Hasbro when they do bad. That way, Hasbro can eventually make better Beyblades more consistently, and everyone can be happy. Once again, I really don't hate Hasbro. In fact, I love them a lot. I love them more than Takara Tomy, even despite all their little mishaps they've been doing, or having, because I just think in general they're more fun anyway, although them being fun isn't really a good excuse for them to be bad. Like, oh, I can still have fun with a bay that's not good, but I still want that bay to end up being good at one point. You know what I mean? The same can apply to Takara Tomy, but mostly this applies to Hasbro, if I'm being honest. Speaking of which, I do find it funny how some people think I just worship Hasbro for everything they do, and they think I never criticized Hasbro in my entire life. To those people, I'm not gonna drag this for so long, but y'all really don't watch my videos, huh? Like, what does it take? Do I have to title the video Hasbro Sucks for you to actually pay attention? I mean, gosh. Just watch. All it takes is one unboxing video of the SpeedStorm Bay. And you'll see that I do criticize them for bad stuff, and I do praise them for good stuff, like any other good BeyTuber. So I'm really mad at the people who think I never criticize Hasbro. But sorry guys, I'm just super disappointed in you haters. But I already made 2 videos roasting y'all, so I really don't want to make this one into another one. So I'm just gonna leave this alone. Anyways, to all the good people out there, thank you for watching and keep blading.